Hello, everyone, and welcome to Words for Life. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to just look at something from the past. Well, maybe not everybody's past. I had a conversation with somebody this morning that it wasn't something that she'd ever heard before, but it's something from my childhood that maybe some of you might remember. And I think it's something we can apply to our lives today. So the concept is that as a child, we had a phrase, or at least in my part of the world, we had a phrase that I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you. This idea is to remind us that what we think of ourselves is more important than what other people say about us. So let's get started and look at this little childhood phrase. So the first part of it is I'm rubber. So the idea is that things can bounce off of us and don't have any impact on who we are. We maintain our sense of self and the way we feel about the world, our place in the world, and other things regarding who we are. And this is an important thing to remember, that being resilient and being able to bounce back. So as we go forward in life, there are going to be certain situations that we encounter that may do us mental harm. We've failed at something, or somebody has said bad things to us. Obviously, bad things as adults, we would hope we would be more resilient, but not necessarily, especially depending on how close a relation you have to the person who is saying those things to you. And it might be unintentional, it might be intentional. But the point of that being rubber is to build up our own resilience for how we deal with life's challenges, whether they be physical or mental. So as you go through your life and you encounter people who maybe have bad attitudes or are out to get you in some way or another, remember the rubber. Remember to be resilient, to bounce back, and to be able to stand up for how you feel, what you think of yourself, and so on and so forth. The other part of this is, so I'm rubber, you are glue, whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you. Many times when people are being negative or trying to bring you down, they'll use words, they'll use some of your characteristics against you and try and, well, essentially bring you down to possibly their level. Many times people do this out of fear, out of a lacking sense of their own worth. And that's unfortunate. It happens. People try and bring others down because they themselves don't feel good. So by building up that resilience in yourself and recognizing your own value and your own worth, it makes it easier to essentially bounce those words back. Now you don't have to say those words back. That's being a little mean in a sense, but you can, be the more mature person, hear what they say, and move on with life. Be resilient and recognize that it is not a reflection of you, but it's actually a reflection of them when they try and use negative words against you or taking some of your character flaws and using them against you. We all know we have flaws in life, and that's something that we all strive to improve on, or at least I hope that you do. But it doesn't mean that we have to let others try and point out every flaw that we have or bring it to our attention and try and bring us down, making it possibly larger and more important than it actually is. So remember the phrase that I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you. This childhood phrase can help you move through life with a little bit more ease and recognizing that sometimes people have bad days. Sometimes they're out to get you, and sometimes they don't even realize that they are hurting you by saying mean things to you or pointing out character flaws or anything of those sorts. And that you can be the better person, build your own resilience, and be that rubber and let it just bounce off of you. So, a couple tips on how to do this is, and you'll hear it in many times in my various podcasts, is mindfulness, is remembering to look at yourself, look at your own thoughts, especially some of the negative thoughts that you have of yourself, and recognize that any failures or characteristics that you have that maybe are not good, or well, definitely don't go for perfect, but good, can be worked on. Characteristics can change. You can model yourself to be better, but do it for yourself. Don't do it because other people are pointing out some character flaw or something like that. But by being mindful of who you are, your small flaws or your character challenges that you might have, or the ways that you think to yourself, whether it be some negative thoughts, that mindfulness will help you recognize them and possibly have something to work on your own personal insight journey. So mindfulness is one. Building resilience is kind of like the best teacher is experience. So as you encounter people or situations that challenge your resiliency, take a moment and look at that. Maybe step outside yourself to look at it from an outside perspective and see, is this truly a reflection of myself? Generally not, but it might be. And do I need to be impacted or affected by it? And by going and doing that evaluation of the situation, it gives you a clearer set of mind rather than possibly reacting emotionally to it. That often can get us into trouble because we don't realize how big our emotions have an impact on the way we think. Emotions are sometimes stronger than our logical thinking. So by taking a moment, even taking a breath, a few breaths if you need to, look at the situation and see, is what this person is saying, or is this failure or fault of my own a reflection of my character, or is it just a temporary passing? By doing that evaluation, you can go and kind of separate yourself from the situation and do a little bit more analytical thinking and not let that possible high level of emotion have that impact. These are just two things you can go and do. I'm sure you can find many others that you can go and implement. Some of them are just like the the 10-second rule, where it's kind of related to the one I just said, but where you take 10 minutes from a situation and then go and revisit it after you've had a clearer mind. Sometimes you need a night, so the idea of sleep on it. So rather than trying to review that situation now, sleep on it. Take the moment, look at it the next day with a fresh set of eyes or something along those lines. So remember, you're rubber, other people are glue. Whatever they say bounces off of you and sticks to them. Obviously, a little different than the actual phrase, but you get the idea, is that build up your own resilience. And then also know that oftentimes when people are using those words against you, it's because they themselves are hurting and they don't know how to express that pain. As the phrase goes, hurt people hurt. So don't take it as a personal impact on your character, but realize that some people just don't know how to deal with their own set of emotions, and it's not a reflection of you. I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of Words for Life. I hope you'll join me on the next one. Again, if you want to have any one-on-one conversations or would like me to speak to any kind of larger group, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at attitudealtitudeacceptance@gmail.com. More than happy to talk more with anybody who would be willing to listen to me. I want to thank you and have a great rest of the day.